Everyone laughed when the quiet boy failed again. But one teacher's simple words changed his future forever. What happened next shocked the entire town. In a small town, there lived a 15-year-old boy named Ethan. He was quiet, shy, and often sat alone in the back corner of his classroom. While other students laughed, answered questions, and participated in activities, Ethan remained silent. School was difficult for him. No matter how hard he studied, his grades remained low. Every test seemed to bring another disappointment. Slowly, he began believing that he simply wasn't smart enough. One afternoon, the class received their mathematics test results. As the teacher handed back the papers, students compared scores and celebrated good grades. When Ethan looked at his paper, his heart sank. He had failed again. A few students nearby noticed his score and began whispering, "Another failure. He never learns. Why does he even try?" The words hurt more than the failing grade. Ethan quietly folded the paper and slipped it into his bag. As he sat there, someone approached. It was his English teacher, Mrs. Thompson. She was known throughout the school for her kindness and patience. Mrs. Thompson sat beside Ethan and smiled warmly. "I noticed you seem upset lately," she said gently. Ethan hesitated before answering. "It doesn't matter." "It matters to me," she replied. For the first time, Ethan opened up. He told her about his poor grades. Mrs. Thompson listened carefully without interrupting. When he finished speaking, she remained silent for a moment. Then she said something Ethan would never forget. "Ethan, your grades do not define your future." He looked at her, surprised. She continued, "I have watched you for months. You are thoughtful, respectful, and hardworking. Those qualities matter far more than one test score." Ethan wasn't convinced. "But I keep failing." Mrs. Thompson smiled. "Failing doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you're learning." Then she told him a story. Before leaving, she looked directly into Ethan's eyes. "I believe in you too." Those simple words stayed in Ethan's mind all day. No teacher had ever said that before. No one had ever looked at him with such confidence. That evening, instead of throwing away his failed test paper, Ethan opened his books and began studying again. Over the next few weeks, Ethan worked harder than ever. He arrived at school early. He stayed after class asking questions. He read extra books from the library. Whenever he felt discouraged, he remembered Mrs. Thompson's words, "I believe in you." Slowly, something began to change. His confidence grew. For the first time in years, he started raising his hand in class. Although he still made mistakes, he no longer viewed them as proof of failure. Instead, he saw them as steps toward improvement. But Ethan had no idea that an even bigger challenge was waiting ahead. A challenge that would test everything he had learned about believing in himself. A few months later, the school announced a regional academic competition. Students from different schools would compete in writing, public speaking, and problem-solving challenges. The winners would receive scholarships and recognition. Most students were excited. Ethan wasn't. Standing in front of people terrified him. When Mrs. Thompson encouraged him to participate in the writing competition, he immediately refused. "I can't do that," he said. She smiled. "That's exactly why you should." After much encouragement, Ethan finally agreed. For weeks, he worked on his essay. He revised it repeatedly. Sometimes he doubted himself. Sometimes he wanted to quit. But each time, he remembered the teacher who believed in him. Competition day arrived. Students from across the region filled the auditorium. The atmosphere was intimidating. Many participants seemed more talented and confident. Ethan felt nervous. As the judges collected the essays, he wondered whether he had made a mistake by entering. Days later, the results were announced. The entire school gathered in the auditorium. Students waited anxiously. The principal stepped onto the stage and began reading the winners. Third place, then second place. Ethan's name wasn't called. He lowered his head. At least he had tried. Then the principal smiled. "And the first place winner is..." A brief pause filled the room. "Ethan Carter." The auditorium erupted with applause. For a moment, Ethan couldn't move. He thought he had heard wrong. But everyone was looking at him. His classmates cheered. Teachers smiled proudly. With trembling hands, Ethan walked to the stage. As he accepted the trophy, he looked into the audience. There sat Mrs. Thompson. She was clapping with tears in her eyes. Their eyes met, and Ethan remembered that afternoon beneath the tree, the day everything changed. After the ceremony, many students congratulated him. Some were surprised, others were inspired. But Ethan knew the truth. The trophy wasn't the biggest victory. The real victory happened months earlier when someone helped him believe in himself again. Years passed. Ethan continued working hard. He eventually graduated with honors and earned a university scholarship. Later, he became a successful writer and motivational speaker. Whenever people asked about the turning point in his life, he always shared the same story. Not about winning competitions, not about awards. Instead, he spoke about a teacher who chose kindness when he needed it most. One day, Ethan returned to his old school as a guest speaker. Standing before hundreds of students, he told them, "Never underestimate the power of encouraging words. One sentence can change a person's entire future." Then he looked toward the front row where Mrs. Thompson sat smiling. The audience applauded, but Ethan knew that applause truly belonged to her. Because years earlier, when everyone else saw failure, she saw potential, and her kind words changed a life forever.